My name is Dr. Raoul McLaughlin. Welcome to Ancient World Studies. The question is, what were the Celtic Irish cats? One popular theory for the spread of domestic cats into Northern Europe and Ireland is that the Celts initially received their animals from the Mediterranean port of Massalia. Massalia was a Greek colony established in southern Gaul about 600 BC. In ancient times, cats would have been common aboard trade and transport ships to control the mice and rats that spoiled food cargoes and consumed essential supplies. These cats would have frequently strayed away from the ship moorings and were often abandoned at busy trade ports. But the animals themselves were also a valuable exchange item to be sought after and acquired by trading partners. One theory suggests that cats were introduced by Greek colonists who also traded them as vermin hunters. Cats were passed between the Celtic communities who lived adjacent to the trade corridor created by the river valleys of the Rhone and Seine. It is also possible that cats reached the Atlantic coast of northern Europe aboard Phoenician ships, visiting these regions to acquire tin and amber. In Britain, some of the earliest remains of domesticated cats were excavated at a Celtic hill fort near Gussage at All Saints in Dorset. The cat remains dated from about 250 BC and included kittens, suggesting that the animal was fully domesticated and content to live in human habitations. The bones were articulated at the time of burial, so the cats were not wild creatures that had been butchered as a source of food. In Ireland, the bones of cats have been found at many early sites, so the animal was relatively commonplace by the medieval era. Irish cats were of relatively large size, and the remains included mature and old animals. This confirms that the cats were well cared for and were a valued creature in society. The earliest Irish texts dating to the medieval era verify the importance of cats to Celtic culture, and in some of the early traditions regarding ancestral heroes, cats make their appearance. According to the Irish Book of Invasions, one of the High Kings of Ireland was known by the name Cobre Kincaid, the cat-headed one. He led an uprising of subject tribes and married the King of Ulster's daughter. But the land did not prosper during the time of Cobre. The harvest failed, the cows were dry of milk, and the rivers ran empty of fish. Cats are also associated with an ancient underground passage called the Cave of the Cats at Roth Grogan in Western Ireland. Roth Grogan was the sacred capital of Connacht, and the cave was said to be the entrance to the Celtic otherworld of spirits and deities. The entrance souterrain has an Ogham inscription honouring a son of the legendary Queen Maeve. However, the fullest descriptions of Celtic cats is preserved in a collection of early Irish legal codes referred to as the Breton Laws. These laws suggest compensation due to owners if their animal was harmed. They also refer to the compensation to be paid if a cat caused injury to others. The law therefore describes the main categories of cats that lived in Irish settlements at that time. According to early Irish law, cats could not be legally harmed or killed if they were in their designated area and fulfilling their allocated role. The animal was therefore not held responsible if it damaged or consumed food that had not been properly secured in a household or on board any ship that the cat had been assigned to protect from vermin. Irish cats, when hunting, were compared to an armed man on a lawful assignment. Owners could therefore claim indemnity from compensation if their cat caused damage or injury while actively hunting rodents. Legal judgments agreed that when catching a mouse, the battle frenzy he is experiencing excuses the cat from any liability. One legal classification of Irish cats was the Meon. This is an onomatopoeic name, and the cat is described as having a mew in its essence. These cats possessed multiple skills or feats, an Irish term for abilities related to a warrior's combat or agility. The meon seems to be a working cat of the fields and barns. The meon is described as a mighty cat by virtue of its strong and swift paw, a cat that guards barn and mill and drying kiln. If a meon was wrongfully killed, then the culprit was required to pay a set penalty of silver ingots or another equivalent compensation. 1/3 of the penalty was paid to the cow herders to supply a replacement animal, but 2/3 was paid to the chief for enacting the judgment. There was a type of meon called the crúbna, described as the clawer, due to the manner it killed its prey. It was a cat of barn and a mill, a warrior, a strong one with a powerful paw. Another cat in the outdoor or outsider category is described as the cat with the herd, who is kept with the cows in the enclosure. This cat is known by the name of fullu, meaning the open, the bare, and unprotected one. It could be that some of the Celtic cats had a semi-feral existence and may have hunted rodents in the weeds, middens, and waste ground near settlements. But fines had still to be paid by anyone who killed one of these outsiders, even the gwas neta, the nettle green, perhaps grey cats, which are found under the green nettles. Another category of cats was the domestic indoor breton, described as she who purrs and protects. The Irish favoured ginger tabby cats for this role, and breton is described as possessing the same colour as the amber embers in a peat fire. This animal possesses a great and warm fire flame colour and a purring in its essence. Rather than living outside in the open, or in a stable or barn, the breton guarded food supplies within the household itself. Referring to this cat as a she could be because of the belief that certain female cats are better mousers than males. Female cats also possess 2 of the X chromosomes that determine fur colour, and this means there is more variety of colour in females. Modern cats described as calico, tortoise, and marmalade are a product of this genetic mix and are almost always female. A related category to the brawn, but in a black and white colouring, was the barkna, said to have been brought to Ireland by the Antrim chief named Breton Laws. The cat was a good hunter of vermin, both in the household and on board ships, and is described in law as a cat for women and a ship warrior. The barkna is described as the strong one of the white-breasted black cats brought from the ship of Breton Laws. In the legal texts, these cats are described as a type that were always on a cushion beside the women. There seems to be another kind of cat called the ear, or catcher, from the old word for seizing and or enclosing. It is not clear if this name comes from the cat's hunting technique, or if the cat itself has been caught and enclosed by the owner. A further category of cat recognised by Irish society was the playful type for children called the rinkna, a little dancer or a teaser, for the reason that it plays with the small children and the children tease it. Perhaps all the categories of Irish cat were once classed as the rinkna, as they passed through the stages of their kittenhood. The Irish probably acquired white cats from Viking traders, and these animals were adopted by Christian scholars in the monasteries. They provided companionship, and when Irish scholars travelled to foreign courts and centres of learning in Europe, they brought their cats with them. This is perhaps the origin of a famous early Irish poem called Pangur Bán. Please see part 2 for the story behind, and a reading of this poem. Thank you.